I should have known better than to let Tyler crash at my place after the bar. We've been doing this dance for months. The lingering glances across conference tables, the way his hand would rest on my shoulder just a beat too long, the text that came late at night asking what I was up to. But Tyler had a girlfriend. Tyler was straight. Tyler said no homo, like a prayer, every time he got too close. That night, though, something was different. Maybe it was the whiskey, or maybe it was the fight he'd had with Amanda earlier. He sat on my couch, his tie loosened, his shirt half unbuttoned, and looked at me with eyes that held a question neither of us wanted to voice. "You ever wonder what it would be like?" he asked, his voice rough. My heart hammered against my ribs. What would it be like? "You know," he gestured vaguely between us. "This, whatever this is." I'd spent so long convincing myself I could be satisfied with friendship, with the crumbs of attention he threw my way. But sitting there, with barely 2 feet between us, I felt something inside me crack open. "Tyler, no homo, right?" He laughed, but it sounded hollow. "That's what we say. That's what makes it okay." He moved closer. I could smell his cologne, could see the flecks of gold in his brown eyes. When he kissed me, it wasn't tentative or questioning. It was desperate, hungry, like he'd been drowning and I was air. We stumbled to my bedroom, shedding clothes and a trail behind us. His hands were everywhere, my chest, my back, my thighs, mapping territory he'd only allowed himself to imagine. And when he pushed inside me, when I felt him filling me completely, he buried his face in my neck and whispered, "God, I've wanted this for so long. No, no homo. No excuses. Just truth." Afterward, we lay tangled in my sheets, sweat cooling on our skin. I waited for the panic, for the inevitable moment when he'd pull away and pretend this never happened. But he just traced patterns on my chest, his touch gentle now, almost reverent. "I should go," he said, but he didn't move. "You should." I agreed, knowing he wouldn't. We made love again, slower this time. He kissed me like he was memorizing the taste of my mouth, touched me like I was something precious. When he finished inside me the second time, he held me close and said my name like a confession. In the morning, reality would intrude. Amanda would call. Tyler would remember who he was supposed to be. But in that moment, in the dark sanctuary of my bedroom, we were just two men who'd finally stopped lying to themselves. He left before dawn, of course. I watched him dress, watched him become Tyler with a girlfriend again, brick by careful brick. At the door, he turned back, and I saw everything he couldn't say written across his face. "No homo," I asked, unable to help myself. He flinched like I'd struck him. For a long moment, he just looked at me, and I watched him choose. Choose comfort over courage. Choose familiar over real. "Yeah," he said quietly. "No homo." The door clicked shut behind him, and I stood there in my empty apartment, still able to feel him inside me, still taste him on my lips. He'd said no homo and nut to me twice, as if the words could erase what we'd done, what we'd felt. As if love worked that way. I knew he'd text later, probably drunk, asking if we were cool. I knew I'd say yes, because that's what you do when you're in love with someone who's too afraid to love you back. I knew we'd dance around this for months more, maybe years, caught in this limbo of almost. But I also knew something else now. I knew what it felt like to have him completely, even if just for one night. I knew the sound he made when he let himself be vulnerable. I knew that underneath all the bravado and the no homo and the desperate heterosexuality, there was a man who wanted me as much as I wanted him. And sometimes on the hardest days, that knowledge would have to be enough. I cleaned the apartment, washed the sheets, erased the physical evidence of what we'd done. But I couldn't erase the memory of his hands on my skin, couldn't unhear the way he'd moaned my name. Those belonged to me now, tucked away in the private spaces of my heart, where even Tyler's fear couldn't reach. My phone buzzed. A text from Tyler. "Thanks for letting me crash. Sorry if I was weird. Too much to drink." I stared at the message for a long time. This coward's apology, this pathetic attempt to rewrite history. I could call him out, could force him to face what we'd done. But what would be the point? You can't make someone brave. You can't love someone into accepting themselves. "No worries," I typed back. Anytime. And I meant it. God help me. Because even knowing how the story ended, even knowing I'd always be his secret shame, his no homo asterisk, I couldn't quite bring myself to close the door. Love makes fools of us all. But especially, it seems, of men like me who fall for men like Tyler. Men who want us in the dark but deny us in the light. Who say no homo while they're still inside us. Who somehow think words can change the fundamental truth of desire. He'd said no homo and nut to me twice. And tomorrow or next week or next month, he'd probably do it again. Because Tyler might be able to lie to Amanda, to his friends, to the world. But he couldn't lie to his body. And his body wanted mine. So I'd wait. I'd be patient. I'd take what moments I could get, even if they came wrapped in shame and denial. Because sometimes, when you love someone, you love them enough to let them find their way in their own time. Even if that time never comes. Even if no homo is all you ever get.